Welcome to an Intro to Zoom, a brief tutorial for parents and guardians to better navigate and utilize Zoom for education. Zoom is a web-based video conferencing tool that allows users to meet, collaborate, and learn digitally. A few of the basic features include HD audio and video and the chat box. In addition to that, you might find your teachers using screen sharing, annotation tools, and nonverbal feedback. What we're going to cover in this tutorial includes Zoom account and access options, how to join a meeting, how to utilize the attendee tools, and then some overall best practices and troubleshooting techniques for using Zoom. To start, if you do not already have a Zoom account set up, go to zoom.us/signin and then select Sign Up. It's free to create an account. You can access Zoom in three different ways. You can go here to access Zoom through a browser on your computer. You can go here to access Zoom through the computer app that you download onto your computer. Or you can download the app and access Zoom through your smartphone using either iOS or Android. You have a couple different ways in which you can join a Zoom meeting or a Zoom class. You can select Join the Zoom meeting, the link within an email or calendar invite from a teacher, or you can go to zoom.us/join, select Join a Meeting, enter the meeting ID and password that's been given to you, and then click Join Meeting. Once you've entered the Zoom meeting or class, you have the opportunity to change your volume or your microphone or your camera. So down at the bottom you'll see a black toolbar, and at the bottom left hand side you'll see a little microphone icon and a little camera icon. If you see a red line through either of these, that means those are disabled. So if the red line is through the microphone icon, that means you are muted. To unmute yourself, you just simply click that icon and the red line will go away. And don't forget, if you unmute yourself, say what you want to say, don't forget to mute yourself again. The same goes for the camera icon. If the red line's through the camera icon, that means your camera is disabled and they cannot see your visual. To enable your camera, simply click on the camera icon and the red line will disappear, and then you'll be able to see your image and everyone will be able to see your camera. The next feature is the Zoom chat. That same black toolbar, you'll click on the chat icon and the chat will pop up to the right of your screen, and you can type your message here, and when you do that your text will show up here. And when you do that, everyone will get a notification that there has been a chat posted in the chat box. So that's another way to communicate without using your microphone. So let's talk about a couple best practices and troubleshooting tips for being in a Zoom meeting or class. Always mute yourself at all times unless you're speaking, and then don't forget to re-mute yourself after you're done speaking. That prevents background noise and makes things a little bit more organized. Be mindful of when to enable your video. For example, maybe you want to have a face-to-face conversation. It's important to be able to see each other's faces for those nonverbal feedback, the nods, the gestures. Also, a tip if you're having connectivity issues, sometimes if you disable your camera, it will allow you to have better volume and sound and just general connectivity. So try that if you're ever having issues. Disable your camera and see how that goes. Consider your environment. Be aware of what others can see within your video. So if your video is enabled, your camera is turned on, make sure you know what they can see. Make sure you're not cutting your head off. Like, be aware of where your actual camera is in the top of your computer or the top of your phone, for example. Consider finding a quiet space that's free of background noise. So when you do enable your microphone, others can hear you clearly. Also be aware of, when your camera is enabled, what the background looks like. If there's like a lot of light, it might impact the quality of what they are able to see. They might not be able to see your faces clearly, for example. And then also look at your image within that participant group. So when others' cameras are enabled, you'll be able to see their faces. And when yours is enabled, you'll also be able to see what you look like. So take a look at your own image to ensure that they're seeing what you are expecting them to see and what you want them to see. And lastly, consider using the chat feature to communicate. For example, maybe you have a question but you don't want to interrupt. Throw that question in the chat box. It's a nice way to communicate without having to enable your microphone. Lastly, there are some additional resources that you can find using the Zoom Help Center at this website. If you go to the Help Center, you can type in keywords or questions and it will take you to helpful articles, videos, and tutorials. Here are a couple links for resources that you might find helpful. Hopefully you've found this intro to Zoom for parents and guardians to be helpful. Thank you so much for joining.